No matter how you look at it, sometimes life can be bittersweet. Just like chocolate, especially describing this one character. Hey guys, welcome back to the Inner Recess of my mind, and today I'm going to be taking a look at another package from Premium Bandai that I pre-ordered a little bit ago. So, the usual, let's get into the backstory, then I'll get into the figure. Today I'm going to be talking about Kamen Rider Valen. Now, he is the secondary rider for Kamen Rider Gav, and, well, we gotta have some tragedy somewhere. Hotep is a unique character. I probably sling that word around a lot, but his backstory is actually very tragic. You see, just like Shuma, he lost his mother. The way things go in this show, usually the main rider and the secondary rider are usually a good reflection of what the character could be or what they are, and they have good parallels from one another. Hotep is a good parallel and very well written version of Shuma. He was born human, and he ended up becoming part Granute himself. His backstory, like I said, is kind of messed up. You see, when he was a kid, him and his mother were playing catch outside. Everything was copacetic. She threw the ball, he didn't catch it, but when he turned around after he caught the ball, a werewolf-like creature came out of nowhere and abducted her broad daylight. People didn't believe him because they thought he was a kid. He probably just imagined the monster to help him cope. But the problem is, he was telling the truth, and nobody believed him. So much so that he didn't really tell that many people. Then, because of this, later on in life, after a lot of stuff that's happened to him, he got into fights. He stayed in trouble because nobody believed him. The only person that did was his mentor. He taught him how to use creative writing and searching for the truth to make life easier for him. Because he never gave up looking for his mother, or at least looking for the clues to help him find his mother. Even so much so that he carries around a picture that he drew of the creature when he was a kid in his pocket, so he can always remind himself, I'm looking, and I will find my mother, or at least find out what happened to her. And it's pretty tragic, because let's be honest, being ignored or no one believing you, especially at an early age, can have effects on you when you get older. And it sucks because he really needed somebody. And his grandmother was there from what they've said in the backstory, but not in the way that he needed it. Because, like I said, when you're a kid and you experience loss, you don't know how to cope or figure it out properly without some proper guidance. And he didn't get that much, because like I said, he was always getting in fights. They even show in one of his flashbacks that he always got into a fight every now and then. That's how him and his mentor came to be cool, because he says you can do more when you're actually guided down the right path. So he guided him with journalism. And his mentor was like a really good father figure. But of course, we can't have nice things when it comes to superhero stories, can we? Doesn't matter if it's anime, tokusatsu, or regular stuff. Someone has to fall for a hero to be born. So, Hotep start getting chummy and close to Shuma during this time. He doesn't know Shuma is Gav at this point. This is early on. And they're still trying to figure things out. He knows about the Granutes, but he doesn't know the full extent of them. He knows that people have been going missing, but he doesn't know how deep it goes. Until one day, he was supposed to go on a stakeout with his mentor. Everything was going well, but behind the scenes, one of the stomach siblings, Nelev, Shuma's older sibling, he was getting close to a specific scientist that we're introduced later on. We don't know it at this point, but they're in cahoots with one another. The scientist in question, Dr. Suga, has actually been studying Granutes for years, and after he witnessed Shuma's fight, him and Hotep got acquainted with each other. Hotep didn't want to really trust him off jump, but he figured he knew more than he let on, so he started hanging around Dr. Suga a little bit. His mentor, on the other hand, was like, be careful around him, because we don't know his full story, we don't know if we can trust him, we don't even know if it's the right thing to even be around him. But, unfortunately, his mentor was killed. A weird Granute approached him and turned him into a press. But the added caveat, he broke his mentor in half. Which is kind of messed up because that's the exact same actor that got ripped in half in Kamen Rider Amazons in Season 2. That, I think, had to be one of the most horrible kills I've seen in Kamen Rider Amazon. I've seen people get ganked in the worst way possible. But what makes it worse is, dude was still talking on the phone to his friends and everything before he said, "This is my last mission." Then you zoom out and you see it's just his upper torso and gushes of blood everywhere. Kamen Rider Amazons went there. We're not gonna. I may talk about that if I ever get a figure of that, but that season. But until then, so Honto found his mentor broken in half as a press, and Shuma told him a while back as Gav that the presses need to be handled carefully because if they're broken, the person inside dies. And seeing how he's missing his lower half, unfortunately, he's gone. Only person he can think of to figure out if he can help him or not is Dr. Suga. But unfortunately, Suga tells him the horrible news that your mentor's gone. Filled with revenge because now that's two people in his life that have been taken by the Granoots, Honto has had enough, and he wants to actually fight back. So Suga said, "I can give you the power to fight back if you help me test something. In order for you to transform or even use this new technology that I've been working on, I'm going to have to implant a literal body part from a Granoot inside of you, so that way it can trigger the transformation ability. Because the only way, after studying the Kamen Rider Gav that he's been looking at, well, Shuma in his transformation form, that the only way to trigger a transformation is to have Granoot DNA. And since he just so happened to have some, because, like I said, spoiler reasons, he says, "I'll help you, but you have to help me test the technology." At first, Honto didn't want to go through with it. But after some thinking and then realized this might be my only chance to actually figure out what happened to my mother and get justice for my mentor, I'll do it. So he subjugates himself to the surgery, literally being not even put to sleep, sliced open, and it had an organ literally installed into his body. His first fight after getting the surgery, it was not pretty. It was not like the cleanest fight. It was raw. It was brutal. It was painful because A, he literally just came off the surgery table. B, he wasn't thinking straight. He was straight raw emotion and rage. So they found the creature. Shuma was fighting him earlier, but he couldn't beat him because he got away. Then Honto got a hold of him and found out the device that Dr. Suga created was a gun. I think they call it the Valen Buster. I really don't remember the full name of the gun itself, but it allows him to utilize Gachizos the same way Shuma does when he puts the Gachizo in his gaff. But when he transforms, instead of using like how Shuma uses gummies, Valen uses chocolate. Apparently, Shuma had gave birth to chocolate Gachizo minions earlier, and Dr. Suga stole a couple. This happens a lot. And they managed to get it to work, where he transforms into Kamen Rider Valen. He doesn't have a name at this point in time, he just transforms. And like I said, it's a brutal fight because he's not at 100%, but he's rocking on pure emotion. So he's actually fighting this thing in the most rawest way possible. And he gets a dub. He avenges his master, and he destroys the creature that killed him. Then he decided, I'm going to fight and destroy all the Granoots so no one ever has to go through what I went through, which is kind of honorable. Then he met up with Gav, and they both decided, let's work together, but secretly don't tell each other who they truly are, until eventually they find out who they both are. And from there, the show just goes on from there. It's really interesting. But yeah, Valen is one of the few Kamen Riders, secondary riders, that uses a gun instead of a morpher, like belt, which is not unheard of, but sometimes some secondary riders use weapons to transform all the time anyway. I mean, when you think about it, you have all of them members from Kamen Rider Kabuto, they had weapons that were their drivers or morphers. Like Kamen Rider Azul had a sword in his insect. Kamen Rider Drake had a wand that became a gun with his transforming device. Then there was Kamen Rider the Bee that had a bracelet that used for his transformation. Then of course Kamen Rider The End from Decade, he had a gun also. So sometimes, like I said, secondary riders don't use actual belts to transform. Hell, sometimes primary riders don't even use belts to transform, because Kamen Rider Hibiki, he doesn't use a belt. In fact, he uses a tuning fork. He gets the belt when he transforms. But meh. Oh, oh. Ta-da! Kamen Rider Valen. Kind of like the box. Here's everything that comes with it. You have him, his gun, and he also comes with his Shuma sword, which irritates me because it should have came with Shuma's sword on day one. This Gotchard all over again. This is the one thing I hate about premium Bandai stuff. In order to complete or have like the full figure of certain figures, you have to buy the secondary character in order to get like a special thing. It irks me. But yeah, here he is, and Shuma's sword behind him. Does he come with Shuma's extra? Yes, he does. Okay. Come on. I like the coloring for Valen, actually. Like, a really... What's a good candy I could think of that actually has, like, this color scheme? I want to say, like, a Hershey Kiss a little bit, but nah. Oh, he even has them under his arms. That's an interesting thing. Okay. Come on. Okay. Ta-da! It's funny, when he transforms, it's like you can see the main body's covered in chocolate, then it turns into the armor. Then you see for the actual chocolate parts, they're covered in wrapper. And the joke that I have with my friend, when he stands up, when he actually grabs his armor and rips off the wrapper, I just said, just rip off the wrapper and just go from there. Just like Shuma, he has a few transformation weapons, or should I say different forms, through different Kachizos. His primary one is chocolate. Then down the road he gets a Christmas log form where he gets like a Yule. I want to say it's a cinnamon log a little bit, where it gives him wood-like armor and a halberd as a weapon. Then he gets like his final form down the road, which is supposed to be consisted of a chocolate latte. Well, chocolate ice latte. Me talk grammar good. Bleh. He also gets some special dark chocolate forms that he gets down the road because of some other plot-heavy things that I don't want to spoil. But yeah, let's see. You have leg. Leg articulation is kind of covered because of the chocolate right here on the leg, which isn't that bad, but eh. All in all, good articulation in the leg. Arm isn't bad. The chest plate, I feel like it's going to be like a little weird, but he can lift his arm up a little. Pretty good, so that's a plus. Head's a little stiff. That's not bad. Love the chocolate in the eyes, like, design. Especially right there. It's not, like I said, the coloring isn't bad. Usually, I don't really see too many brown like primary colors on certain riders, and if I do, I don't remember them off the top of my head. I mean, it's not bad. Like I said, the brown, the white, and the red with the black and gold do actually look pretty good, especially around the lining and the detail. I love how you just see like chocolate just written on his head, like right there. You probably can't see it because it's like loose in focus. Yep, and even on the arm. But yeah, so he also comes with his blaster, which is his morpher. It too has a Kachizo in it. How he transforms is he'll pull it back like this, put in a Kachizo, and then close it and palm it into the ground. It's a weird looking gun, it really is. But yeah. Like I said, I love how a lot of like the primary or secondary riders just have like a good pistol for their primary weapons, which is not a bad thing. But sometimes certain hand-to-hand weapons are necessary, but then again, you have to have that one person just supposed to reach out and touch you. So, ta-da! That took longer than it had to. Plus, I dropped the hand. But, yeah. So, that's the blaster. There's also a little groove right here on the side where you can actually holster his blaster. But, yeah. Like I said, for his signature move, he'll cock it back for a second, then close it again, just for a giant, like, marble chocolate ball to build up that he literally doesn't shoot like a normal person. He punches it into people, then it explodes. That sounded weird now that I said it out loud. Why am I into this franchise again? No, but yeah. And since he has Shuma's sword, I'm going to put that on Shuma. Hang tight. Ta-da! That's actually a big sword. It also has the launch part for the Kachizo, so he can just sit in there and use his distractions, because when he uses it as an attack, it's not effective. But yeah, the sword, I never talked about it earlier when I was looking at Shuma, but the sword is actually very powerful. It comes out of his stomach, or should I say gaff, when we first see him debut his form. And it also has the ability to shoot shockwaves or concussive energy, depending on how he's using it. It's actually a really cool weapon. Then in his upgrade, Blizzard Sword Bay, it has the ability to use his ice powers as a enhancement for the sword itself. I'm still irritated it didn't come with Shuma, but I'll get over it, as I always do. But yeah, Shuma, hot dog. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, the way they write these two in the show, I ship it. I really do. But yeah, the next one that's coming in the mail that I ordered too is going to be our third rider, Kamen Rider Vram. But I'll talk more about him later. You guys have a good one. Now I need to figure out where I'm going to put these two now. I had Shuma sitting on top of my computer, but you know what? Yeah. Later. Shout out to my homie Cash for this awesome picture. If you want more information on them, as well as other artists that help with this channel, please check down in the description. I have links to their work. Also, thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see more, I have a random playlist right here and the last episode of what I've done recently. Take it easy.